Well, there you go. Then what are you complaining about?
Because we don't want to concrete over the land. I know you're a townie. I know you're happy living in your liberal elite world of London. But for us, the countryside is the countryside. It's where our food comes from, James.
So you've been offered...
You seem to have forgotten that. You seem to have forgotten that, haven't you, James?
Charlie, you don't...
accept it.
Okay, mate. I'm going to have a
I'm not your mate. I hate you. I think you're an idiot.
Okay.
I think you're a lefty, liberal, woke idiot.
Okay, Charlie.
A farmer called James O'Brien to argue about inheritance tax on farms. He opened by saying he was going to correct O'Brien's facts. By the end of the call, he wasn't correcting anyone. He was just angry, genuinely, personally angry, at a man he'd never met. Let's watch it together.
Charlie is in Weymouth. Charlie, what would you like to say?
I would like to make 2 points. I'm going to correct you on your 7-year thing, and then I'm going to fill in the gap in your knowledge.
I've got the HM Revenue and Customs page in front of me on the 7-year thing.
Perfect. So
it's not me you're correcting. It's the official advice.
No. It is you.
Okay.
You've got the wrong end of the stick.
Okay.
But so with the 7-year thing, are you happy that a farmer can pass it on in 7 years inheritance tax free?
Hang on, you're supposed to be correcting me.
Yeah. No, I'm asking you a question.
Oh. Am I happy? Well, everyone enjoys that freedom.
Yep.
So I mean, in an ideal world, probably get rid of all the loopholes. But I think that would be brutal.
So why is it then that it's acceptable to pass on a farm in 7 years from now, but for someone that's worked on that farm for the last 40 years, all of a sudden they can't get that? If their dad died 2 years ago, if their parents die in before this thing comes in, they're going to get hit by inheritance tax. They've worked that farm for their entire life.
Yes.
Why is that? Why is that different?
Well, you've just explained why it's different. Because the rules have changed.
So exactly
to meet the new need, and also, of course, 1984 was the point this was introduced. So
that's right.
So 40 years is the perfect point to pick, isn't it? Because prior to 1984, you'd have been paying more inheritance tax, and all those farms.
No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't.
Yes, you would. So how was that fair?
No, they wouldn't, because 40 years ago, farmland wasn't the price it is now.
Prior to but the percentage that you'd pay on it would have been the same, not the total.
Percentages.
Yes,
exactly,
but tax is all about percent. I'm enjoying being corrected by you, Charlie, but you must let me get a word in edgeways. Tax is all about percentages, not totals. It's about the proportion of the total that goes to the taxman. So because of inflation, hang on. Because of inflation, obviously all the numbers are going to be higher.
It's not inflation.
Okay, well, because of some mysterious magic formula, all the numbers are going to be higher than they were 40 years ago. But just to show you politely the error of your ways, the reason why rules change is because of economic policy. So your point is as valid as ringing me in 1984 and complaining about how unfair it is that you had to pay inheritance tax last year in 1983, and a farmer who passes away next year in 1985, his heirs won't have to pay any inheritance tax at all. Do you see the rules change?
No. Hang on. If you let me get a word in edgeways now, how much was land worth in 1984 per acre?
But you keep asking me questions.
No. Yeah, well,
considerably less. Well, how much was my house worth? How much was my house worth? How much was my house worth in 1984, Charlie? Answer the question.
Just now, you said that if you don't have the information, you make bad decisions. So in 1984, the average cost of an acre was £3,780.
And the average cost of a house?
I've no idea. I'm not talking about houses, I'm talking about acres.
No, you're talking about inheritance tax, which applies to houses. So what was the average cost of a house in 1984?
I've no idea, James. I don't care about houses. I'm caring about acres. That's what we're talking about.
I'll give you a spoiler alert. They cost a lot less 40 years ago than they do now.
£3,788.
But the percentage of tax that you pay is the same regardless of how much the estate is worth.
Right, so you're quite happy. You're quite happy that they can get.
I don't know that I'm happy, Charlie. I mean, that's an existential question. But if I'm offered a choice,
and now I tell you what, because we're not going to agree on this, I'll tell you why.
We can't disagree about counting.
I will tell you.
It's
why
not an opinion. It's just counting.
If you stop talking over me and let someone who actually knows speak for once, and I know that's difficult for you, James.
Why are you so rude, Charlie? It's not
Because
my
you're
fault.
rude.
It's not my
Because
fault.
you
You've
are
just
rude.
made.
You are the rudest person on the radio because you sit there with your
I'm the
twiddling your
second.
knobs.
I'm the second rudest person on
No,
the radio at the
well,
moment.
well,
At this
you're still
moment,
pretty
Charlie,
rude.
it's
So-
not my fault. You're feeling silly. It's now 2024.
Blah, blah, blah.
Okay,
The point
this is
is,
going
I know
well.
what I'm talking about. You don't, and you won't listen.
I'll be quiet for a full 60 seconds.
Fantastic. Right, okay, I'll tell you why it's different when a farmer inherits a farm and when I inherit my parents' house. So when I inherit my parents' house, my personal house, my job, my pension, my investments, they are all protected. Do you understand that?
It's not true. You have inheritance tax to pay on the estate that you inherit from your parents. You just pay double what you would on farmland.
No. My job is protected. I pay inheritance on the asset I inherit.
Yes, the asset.
Yeah, exactly. So my house.
And the farm, isn't that?
not
Well, I'm supposed to be
impacted by
quiet. Carry on. But if you say things that aren't
My
true, I have
house-
to interrupt.
My house is not impacted by me inheriting my parents' house. Do you agree with that? My personal income, my personal job, my personal investments are not impacted by me inheriting my parents' house.
Well,
Do you
unless
understand?
it's a B&B and you work there or something like that, unless the property is part of your business. But this is about agricultural land.
Right, okay, so now let's talk about agricultural land. So when a farmer inherits his farm that he's been working on for all of his life, that is his
not
house.
necessarily.
Now,
We
hang
just
on,
we
James,
just
you was
spoke.
gonna be quiet.
We
You
ju-
was
yeah,
gonna
but
be
you've had
quiet.
60 seconds
So
now.
You're talking over people again, James.
But you're not making sense, Charlie.
Well, you haven't let me finish.
Okay,
you
you
haven't let me
finish.
finish,
You
James.
finish then, Charlie.
So when a farmer inherits his farm and he can't afford to pay that inheritance tax because it's hundreds of thousands of pounds and he only makes £30,000 a year.
Well, look, can we
that's
crunch
his
the
home.
numbers quickly?
That's his home, James.
Can we crunch
That's
the numbers
his-
quickly?
Yeah, by all means.
So
Which
hundreds
numbers?
of thousands of pounds worth of tax, presuming, of course, that it's passed from spouse to spouse and then to heir. So it's in excess of £3 million. So
£4.5
for
million in case of my family.
for hundreds of thousands of pounds at a 20% tariff, regardless of what the figure is, the percentage is 20%. You'd have to be living in an estate worth sort of £6, £7, or £8 million.
No, 4.5 million, James.
No, hundreds of thousands of pounds. You said.
4.5. Yeah, exactly.
So that's 1.5 million, 20% of 1.5 million over 10 years.
Yeah, and how are you going to pay that?
Well,
when you earn
40% for
25
everybody
grand a
else.
year? How are you going to pay that when you earn 25 grand a year?
The same. Well, I don't. How can you possibly
this
be
is the
arguing,
difference,
Charlie?
James. When I
Mate,
inherit
sit,
a house,
Charlie.
my house is protected. When
Yeah.
a farmer inherits his farm,
Okay.
his house is at risk.
Why don't you sell some stuff?
Like what, James?
Well, some of you,
Who's going to buy it?
some of your
Who's
land.
going to buy it? Who's going to buy it?
I don't know. Lots of people are trying to buy land. We
James,
spoke
you
to.
don't know.
Well,
That's the funny
what,
thing.
do you want a
Another
name?
farmer's not going to buy
John.
it, are they?
John's going to buy it.
Farmer,
John is going to buy it.
John's going to build solar panels on it.
John, I don't know what he's going to do with it, but he's going to. But you asked me who was going to buy it, which you don't recognise. You're shouting at me
solar
again.
Panels. We've had the offers for wind
Well,
farms.
there you go.
We've
Then
had
what
the
are you
offers-
complaining about?
Because we don't want to concrete over the land. I know you're a townie. I know you're happy living in your liberal elite world of London. But for us, the countryside is the countryside. It's where our food comes from, James.
So you've been
seem to have
offered-
forgotten that.
You
seem to have forgotten that, haven't you, James?
Charlie, you
can't
don't.
accept it.
Okay, mate. I'm going to have a
I'm
little.
not your mate. I hate you.
I'm
I think you're an idiot.
Okay.
I think you're a lefty, liberal, woke idiot.
Okay, Charlie. The thing about solar panels or indeed wind farms is that they create energy. Now, can you
right.
think of any
I'm an
profession?
electrical engineer, James. I know how that works.
Can you think of any profession you have some experience of that uses a lot of energy?
Yeah, absolutely.
What?
I'm an electrical engineer, James. So all of the things I do requires a lot of energy.
Oh, okay. So finding ways to produce energy. At the moment, what's rapeseed oil used for?
What's oil, cooking oil for a start.
No, what's it used for? It's used to produce energy, right?
No, cooking oil.
That's heat.
No.
Yes.
Cooking oil, James. When you go and get a bottle of oilseed rape out your cupboard, where do you think it came from?
That's not all
It came
the
from
rapeseed. The industrial production of oil is part of the energy production process, and the same is true of solar panels. Mate, they are telling you that they're going to give you money with which you can then pay your inheritance tax, and you're saying, I don't want it. I want to carry on earning a pittance.
Exactly.
Oh, well, then we're in agreement then.
We're farming an outstanding area of natural beauty. We don't want to see solar panels there. I'm shocked, but not surprised that you do.
Well, I don't like fossil fuels.
Oh, well, in that case, let's tarmac the countryside.
No,
James doesn't like fossil fuels. Let's tarmac the AOMBs.
Charlie.
Let's tarmac them. Yeah, get some solar farms on there. Yeah, why not, James?
I think
hey, James, you like immigrants? You probably want to see some homes there as well, don't you?
Well, down with homes.
When was the last time you went to a farm?
Down with homes.
When was the last time you went to a farm?
When was the last time I went to a farm? Is that a trick question?
No.
About 3 months ago.
3 months ago, right. What was you doing on that farm?
I was buying pumpkins.
Right, okay. So you've never
less than three.
Working farm.
I grew up on a working farm. This is such a strange argument. In a sentence, I grew up on a working farm. I probably should have mentioned that sooner. I grew up just outside Kidderminster in Worcestershire. The farmers are all around Chaddesley, Corbett, and that area.
So what? Your dad was a farmer?
No, I've explained several. Do you listen to this program?
So when you? No, I don't.
Well, how can you have such strong?
I think you're an idiot.
How can you have such strong views about me then?
Because the few times I have listened to you, I heard how you speak to people. You talk over them and cut them off, like you've done to me.
Down with that sort of thing, Charlie?
You are down with that, I know. That's what you love.
I mean down with talking over people and shouting at them.
Oh, I'll shout at you. I'll give you everything that you try and give me.
I've tried to give you a fair hearing.
You haven't. You haven't at all.
Okay.
I pointed the facts to you and you won't accept it.
Okay.
You know nothing, James. Stick in your London liberal lefty wokeism. You know nothing about farming.
10:53.
Right, let's go through the whole call, because there's a lot more happening here than one caller losing his temper. Charlie opens with real confidence. He says he's got the actual HMRC page in front of him, and he's going to correct James on the 7-year rule around passing on farms tax-free. Fine start. But watch what happens next, because James doesn't argue with the 7-year rule at all. He just asks the obvious follow-up. If a farmer can pass on land tax-free by planning 7 years ahead, why should someone whose parent happened to die 2 years too early get hit with a bill that a slightly luckier family avoids entirely? Charlie's answer is essentially that the rules change to meet new needs, which, as James points out, is exactly the same logic that applied in 1984 when this 7-year rule was actually introduced. Rules change. That's not an argument against the current change, that's just how tax policy works, full stop. Then we get into the numbers properly, and this is where Charlie's argument really starts to wobble. He tries to argue that land was cheaper decades ago, so it's unfair to compare then and now. James corrects him gently but firmly. Inheritance tax is calculated as a percentage, not a fixed amount, so the proportion someone pays doesn't actually change just because property values have gone up with inflation. Charlie keeps trying to make the argument about total pounds rather than percentages, and it just doesn't hold up, because the whole point of a percentage-based tax is that it scales with value automatically. Charlie then tries a different angle, that when he inherits his parents' house, his own job, pension, and personal investments stay completely protected, but a farmer's whole livelihood is at risk. James dismantles this cleanly. Inheriting a house means paying inheritance tax on that house, exactly the same principle as inheriting a farm and paying tax on the farm. The only difference is which specific asset gets taxed, not whether personal, unrelated assets are somehow more protected in one case than the other. Charlie can't actually explain why the principle should be different, he just insists that it obviously is, which isn't the same thing. Then comes the line that really defines this whole call. James, still being reasonably civil, calls Charlie mate. Charlie snaps back that he's not his mate, that he hates him, calls him an idiot, then specifically a lefty liberal woke idiot. And I think this is the moment worth sitting with, because up to that point Charlie had at least been making an argument, however shaky. The second the numbers stopped working in his favour, the conversation stopped being about policy entirely and became purely personal. That's a pattern worth noticing well beyond this one call. When the facts don't cooperate, the last resort is often just contempt for the person who pointed that out. James doesn't rise to it. He shifts, almost gently, into asking about alternatives, like selling some land to solar or wind developers who've apparently already made offers. Charlie objects on the grounds that it would mean concreting over the countryside, accuses James of being a townie from the liberal elite who's forgotten where food comes from, which might land better if Charlie himself hadn't, a few minutes later, admitted his most recent visit to any farm was 3 months ago, to buy pumpkins, despite building his entire authority on the call around growing up near farmland decades earlier. I think what's genuinely valuable about this call isn't proving one farmer wrong on a phone-in. It's watching, step by step, what happens when someone opens a conversation absolutely certain they hold the facts, and slowly discovers the facts don't actually support the conclusion they'd already decided on. The 7-year rule, the percentages, the protected assets argument, all of it falls apart under fairly gentle, patient questioning. And the response to that isn't to reconsider the position. It's to escalate to personal hatred, then retreat into identity, the countryside versus the city, the real farmer versus the townie, as if that settles an argument about percentages and thresholds. That's where I am on it. Right, genuinely, thank you for making it through that one with me. If watching an argument collapse in real time under its own numbers is your kind of entertainment, you know exactly what to do. Like it, share it, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.